Hi there, Summoners. GuardianE here with another live reaction to the new trailer banner that's going to drop tonight. Got it pulled up here. You know, until we get another Engage banner, I'm going to just keep guessing that the next new hero banner is an Engage banner. I think it's got to be right at least once, right? I think some people were theorizing that we would get the Fallen hero banner, which we usually get around this time. I think, generally speaking, it's in May, so I would expect it next month and not this month. But who knows? They could surprise us. But my money is going to be on Engage, and we're going to see right now just how wrong I am. All right, let's get this show on the road. And there we go. All right, who have we got? Oh, new heroes join the battle. That does not sound like Engage. That's gonna be Felix, Lone Wolf Blade. Okay, continuing the Three Houses train.
This will be fun.
I mean, yeah, okay, I guess that's appropriate. Felix fans are gonna go nuts, and appropriately so. He's super popular. He is going to be an infantry sword unit, so he's got to bring a lot to the table to differentiate himself. But did you see the size of that weapon description? I think he's probably going to be able to do that. Looks good, though. Looks good. Solid art. Rhea? Loving Matriarch. Really? Yeah, I guess we don't have regular Rhea in the game. We've gotten like so many alternate versions of Rhea that it's like, that just kind of slipped my mind. So she is going to be an infantry colorless dragon. Boom.
You have been judged.
You have been judged. That glimmer proc. Oh, that beautiful explosion. She looks quite regal. Oh, hey, Consummate Flirt. So it's like exuding everybody from Seasonal Hell. Sylvain is making an appearance. Cavalry Axe Unit. Everybody is clawing their way out of Seasonal Hell. Sylvain clawing out and then falling into the 4-star focus categorization, but that's okay. I think that's not necessarily a death wish. And then we got Rearmed Hero. Who is that? Who is it going to be? Oh, wow. Oh, really? Beacon of Honor. Huh.
Upon my lance, I swear I will protect you.
That's interesting. Okay, we're getting Ingrid. Arcane Lewin. Knightly Devotion. Guard Bearing 4. Really? So are they just not doing Ascended Heroes anymore? I guess they're just doing Rearmed at this point. Like, they realized that Ascended wasn't, like, motivating people enough to go in on new hero. Oh, who is that? Who is that? Kazvas here? Okay, so we got a Three Houses banner featuring again, this is like the out of Seasonal Hell banner. That's effectively what we're looking at here. Wait, actually, hold on. Did I see something? Oh, no. That's just the fact that we are, in fact, going to get a spark. And everybody's going to get a spark on this one because it is a new hero banner. So, starting on the 17th, going for probably an entire month. That's kind of the MO for these. And then Sylvain is going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner. And even color distribution across. And we are going to get a Rearmed Ingrid. I will say this is a really pretty interesting banner all around. All very popular characters in their own right. All with pretty pronounced fan bases. Ingrid is the only one, I think, of the group that actually has an original version in the game, but pre-time skip. So this is actually going to be her post-time skip incarnation as a Rearmed hero. And the rest of them, again, in some way, shape, or form, have either one or more alternate versions in the game already, but not their original version. And so this is going to be their opportunity for their canon selves to shine. Okay, well, Intelligence Systems reminding us that we are not done with Three Houses yet. They're not ready to go into Engage. They've got plenty of Three Houses left for us to cover. So let's rewind, take a closer look at the units and their skills to see if this one, I think, is worth summoning for or not. So Felix is going to be an infantry sword unit, and I think his art overall looks pretty great. He has this slender but powerful presence to him. Dapper looking outfit, really kind of drapes over his stature pretty well. The artist really did capture the steely gaze that he has. Really no nonsense. Definitely like cuts right through you, just like his saber does. You have these muted neutral colors, the smooth fabric of his vest, as well as all of the little detailed wrinkles and shadows in the actual cloth for the arms of his shirt. I think it's a great representation of Felix. I think he looks good. So Felix's weapon is appropriately named Lone Wolf. It's 16 might. Has a killer slaying effect. If unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25% at the start of the turn, grants the following effect to unit at the start of the turn. So it is an activated buff, whatever this is. Or if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25% at the start of combat, grants the following effect to unit after combat. Oh, okay. If unit's special cooldown count is at its max value, grant special cooldown count -2 to unit. If unit's special cooldown count is at its max value, -1. Grant special cooldown count -1 to unit. So that's really interesting. He has a pulse effect that is built into his weapon that triggers off of his HP condition, and it'll trigger off of his HP condition either at the start of combat, or at the start of a turn, or after combat. So he'll always get, effectively, -2 charge on the maximum value of his special. I already see that he has godlike reflexes. He's probably built for godlike reflexes, because that's why they put it on him. So that's probably what he's going to be running in most cases. If that's the case, that would effectively mean that he's always going to have godlike reflexes fully charged, because he has a killer slaying effect on Lone Wolf. That's going to turn godlike reflexes into a maximum 2 count for the charge, and then he's always going to enjoy either a -2 or a -1, but always to get him, the charge that he needs. Very strong, right out of the gate. And then at start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants +5 to all stats to unit during combat, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoE specials, excluding Rocker, by 30%. And also, if unit is not adjacent to an ally, inflicts -5 to attack speed and defense on foe during combat. So it's kind of interesting that this weapon is called Lone Wolf, but it's really only like a tiny, tiny piece of this weapon that actually is like a solo element, right? You would think that they would tie more into that, but that in and of itself can be a little bit limiting. So I do understand them wanting to give Felix a little bit more flexibility, so that despite the fact that he's a lone wolf, quote unquote, he still has a lot more going for him depending on the combat positioning, right? So the whole non-adjacent thing, that does give an in-combat debuff on the enemy, which is not insignificant, but it's also like a very small part of the entire weapon description, right? That's still very, very solid. He enjoys damage reduction. He gets stat boosts all across, in-combat stat boosts. Aside from that, you have that whole special cooldown pulse gimmick, right? And then you have +5 to all stats, and then you have actual damage reduction built in, 30% damage reduction, which is nothing to scoff at. All kind of really tailored to the 25% HP condition. So despite the length of this, and despite the fact that it triggers at different points, the key component to this is Felix likes to be healthy, at least not feeling terrible, below 25% HP, and he gets to enjoy all of this stuff. Godlike reflexes, so this is the first time we've seen godlike reflexes since Flame Tribe Lyn. If unit's HP is greater than or equal to foe's speed -4, and unit special is ready, or unit special triggered during combat, deals damage equal to 15% of unit speed, and when triggers, reduces damage from foe's attack by 40%. So a special triggers only if unit speed is greater than or equal to foe's speed -4. So Felix is going to be naturally very, very speedy. I think that everybody kind of anticipated that to be the case, and the godlike reflexes is going to scale off of that, not only doing some damage, but also some additional damage reduction that will scale with the 30%, or stack with the 30%, I should say, multiplicatively, not additively. Attack speed finish 4 is a great fit for him, because he's going to constantly have his special available, which means he's also going to constantly deal true damage based upon attack speed finish 4 by having his special ready. So that's definitely very good. He's going to enjoy the HP healing that's afforded by attack speed finish, because he wants to have his HP topped up, or at least above 25% for all of the conditions for his weapon. So very, very good synergy there. Attack speed Bulwark 3 for the B slot. Foes range equal to 1 cannot move through spaces adjacent to unit, and foes with range equal to 2 cannot move through spaces within 2 spaces of unit. Does not affect foes with pass skills. Inflicts attack speed -4 on foe during combat, and restores 7 HP to unit after combat. So again, the HP stacking after combat is going to help him stay healthy and meet the condition for Lone Wolf. He's effectively going to be a wall that's going to have a lot of damage reduction built in. and do a lot of damage on the counter attack with godlike reflexes and all of the debuffs and buffs that he can afford. And then, block off the enemy effectively with the Bulwark. Got Speed Smoke 4 on the C slot as well, so granting dodge to himself as part of Speed Smoke 4 is also going to be very useful. The debuff on the enemy, reducing their speed, is going to ensure that he gets all of the effects of godlike reflexes and Bulwark and everything else that he needs. That dodge is going to stack with the damage reduction that he gets from godlike reflexes and Lone Wolf, so he's going to be sitting pretty with a lot of damage reduction. The only, I guess, weakness would be that he's pretty susceptible to any unit that ignores damage reduction overall. But, I mean, in terms of what he does, he just really stacks on all that DR to the point where, things are going to ping off of him, essentially, to effectively position himself as an offensive wall. And he's going to be great at doing that. And he's full of really good skills, too. If you did not, for whatever reason, like Felix, and you did get him, I mean, finding a home for these skills is not going to be difficult. And of course, here is Rhea, who is going to be an infantry colorless dragon. She looks regal, she looks matronly, celestial, very symmetrical. they have there's this sense of order, I think, that she has, that they're really kind of exuding with this symmetry overall with her positioning here. Arms crossed, or hands crossed in front of her, the robes kind of draping over her shoulders, the headwear behind her as well, creating almost a halo effect. She has almost this Buddha or Zen-like vibe to her, and I think that that's what they're trying to go for with. I do sort of get the sense that that's what they're going for here with this art, a sense of order, a sense of discipline, but also this underlying grace that she exudes really, really comes together. So Rhea's got Revealing Breath, 16 might, has a Killer Slaying effect if foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat, grants +5 to all stats to unit, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack, and reduces damage from foe's follow-up attack by 30% of unit's res during combat. And then, of course, the adaptive damage component being a Dragonstone. So, kind of interesting. It's a very simple condition. Basically, she's enemy phasing, or if the foe has a certain amount of HP, and then she has a laundry list of effects. So, boosts to all stats is really good. Guaranteed follow-up attack, basically has guard on the enemy, and then reduces damage from foe. So, 30% of units res, or res is probably going to be pretty substantial. The damage reduction in particular piques my interest because it's 30% of her res. It's not actually a percent-based damage reduction. It's actually fixed damage reduction scaling off of her res, I believe. So if she has 50 res, then effectively she would have 15 fixed damage reduction against any attacks, which is interesting. I mean, there are pros and cons to having fixed damage reduction versus percent scale damage reduction. Obviously, percent scale damage reduction is more effective the higher the damage numbers you're dealing with, generally speaking. But having fixed damage reduction dings more often, where you're being dealt 0 damage more often. And also, of course, they scale well together. So you can have fixed and percentage-based damage reduction together, since we have a lot of skills out there that give percent-based damage reduction. They really do shine together. So you've got Glimmer for the special, Attack Res Scowl 4 for the A slot. What is that symbol? It has like an eye in the middle? I'm not sure. I don't know if this might be a dragon exclusive A slot. If foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat, look familiar? Yeah, that's exactly what Revealing Breath's condition is. So she really doesn't have to worry about anything besides that condition. Grants attack res +7 to unit during combat, and also, if foe's attack can trigger foe's special, and unit's res is greater than foe's res +5 during combat, interesting, inflicts special cooldown count +1 on foe before foe's first attack. Okay. So we've seen this before, but sparingly. It hasn't been super common, but a couple of units have an effect like this. But it's now built into a skill that is presumably inheritable, and presumably is going to be a dragon. I'm guessing this is a dragon A slot skill, and that's going to be interesting. Giving dragons the ability to effectively remove somebody's special charge before they're able to attack. Has some implications for sure, and that can be somewhat problematic, especially since Revealing Breath has a guard effect built in. So not only does Scowl remove the special charge of the enemy, but they can't gain charge by attacking into Rhea because of Revealing Breath. And then, of course, she does get a boost to her attack and her res, and it scales, or the condition is based off of her res stat during combat. So all of the different in-combat effects that boosts her res are all going to come into play when doing that evaluation for the condition of res greater than or equal to foe's res plus 5. True Dragon Wall, we know about True Dragon Wall as well. Rhea, I believe, was the one who introduced this, if I'm not mistaken. So she is going to get that damage reduction and is going to stack. It's a percent-based damage reduction, and it will stack and work with the fixed damage reduction that is provided by Revealing Breath. And naturally, she wants to have as much res as she possibly can, because that is going to allow her to get as much fixed damage reduction as she possibly can as well. I mean, the more fixed damage reduction she can enjoy from that, she's going to be sitting pretty effectively as a wall out there, where the enemy is not going to... They're going to come in with their special charge, they're going to lose that charge, not be able to gain their special, and the Rhea is going to be able to attack into them and then do a guaranteed follow-up attack, proc that Glimmer, and take them out. So an effective strategy, effective combination of skills overall, and that stack damage reduction is going to be formidable. I'm sensing a theme here, a lot of damage reduction, so I suspect that we might see more of that in the rest of this trailer. And there is Sylvain, the playboy himself, cavalry axe unit, that shock of orange hair looking impeccable as always, sleeves rolled up and ready to prowl the streets. He looks good. I like the open jacket, the loose button shirt, the aloof look to him. He has a very approachable smile. All very much Sylvain in a nutshell. I think that captures his spirit to a T. So Sylvain is going to have Allied Axe Plus. It's going to be an inheritable weapon, 14 might. Grants attack defense plus 4 to allies within 2 spaces during combat, and if a unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack defense plus 4 to unit during combat. Okay, simple enough. That's going to be a joint drive attack defense built into the weapon. Moonbow for the special, attack defense catch 3 for the A slot, and spur attack defense 2 for the C slot. So Sylvain's not really packing a whole heck of a lot in terms of his kit. I mean, the catch 3 skill is going to be a pretty good stepping stone skill for catch 4. Moonbow is not really anything to write home about. It's a very, very common special. Allied Axe Plus, it's an okay effect. It's not bad, but it's also not great. Spur attack defense 2 is... just in this day and age, it's just outdated as far as a C slot skill. So yeah, Sylvain got kind of the rough end of the stick here in terms of his kit, I gotta say. Again, the saving grace here as a 4-star focus unit is that he's going to be a pretty easy merge project, and you can basically shape him however you'd like to shape him. Looks like he is going to be centered around having high attack and high defense, and there's definitely a lot of ways to build a unit like that. And so here is Ingrid as a rearmed hero. Once again, I guess we're just not getting Ascendeds anymore. I guess we're just getting rearmed now. This is going to be the post-time skip version of her. She's going to be a flying lance unit, which, again, is no surprise. I think that obviously fits her to a T. I think she looks great. She has this serenity to her that just is very striking. I think it has to... Maybe it's with her icy blue eyes and then her beautiful golden hair. I don't know, but there's this soft glow to her. There is definitely a glow to the lance there towards the end with the bladed edge of it. And overall, there's kind of this like snow bunny appeal to her. There's like the fur lining to her armor. It's very form-fitting. It's svelte. It seems to... highlight her femininity, but at the same time it has the hard edges, the metallic elements to really make it shine as well. And the colors are very, very flattering for her too. So I think she looks great. And the pose, very striking, very graceful. So Ingrid has Arcane Lewin. So this is going to be inheritable as an arcane weapon. It is 16 might. Has a killer slaying effect. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants plus 5 to all stats, deals damage equal to 20% of unit's speed, including when dealing damage with a special triggered before combat, neutralizes foes' bonuses to speed and defense during combat, and also if unit's speed is greater than foe speed, neutralizes effects that guarantee foes follow-up attacks, and effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks during combat. Okay. So naturally, I'm trying to think about this within the context of this being an inheritable weapon, and also it competing, because the first time we've had a rearmed we've had competing rearmed weapons, effectively rearmed weapons that are in the same category. We have 2 rearmed lances. This is the second one, and I'm trying to remember what the last one was. I don't think it was centered around speed off the top of my head, so I think, that is how they're... Just because you have another rearmed weapon doesn't mean they fit for the same type of character, right? Of course. Very, very easy HP condition to meet, but +5 to all stats, and then getting just damage scaling off of speed, fixed damage. That's really great, and then neutralizing foes' bonuses to speed and defense is going to help her to meet the conditions for the next part of it, which neutralizes the guaranteed follow-up effects for the enemy, and also allows her to naturally double. There's no guaranteed double effect here built in because this weapon is assuming that you have a pretty decent speed stat, and it's going to allow you to double with impunity based upon that speed stat with this effect. Luna for the special. Knightly Devotion for the A slot. Enables Kanto remainder +1. That's very good. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants +8 to all stats. Neutralize units' penalties during combat. What? And restores 7 HP to unit after combat. This skill is ridiculous. It has Kanto +8 to all stats. The condition for this is stupid. It's stupid easy to meet. I mean, she just has to play her phase or be within 2 spaces of an ally. That is not difficult at all to accomplish. And then neutralizing the penalties, and then 7 HP after combat, and then the +8 to all stats. That's a package deal. That's quite a package deal. That's a great skill. Guard bearing 4 for the beast slot. I'm curious about this. Inflicts speed defense -4 on foe during combat. Reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoE specials by X%. During unit's first combat initiated by foe each turn, X equals 60. Otherwise, X equals 30. Oh. Okay. So actually, this is really appropriate too, because I believe Ingrid brought us guard bearing for the first time as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think, was it Summer Ingrid that brought us guard bearing for the first time, and now her rearmed version is bringing guard bearing 4. Yeah, so the innate speed defense -4 is excellent. That's great. And then she also just gets damage reduction across the board. Guard bearing originally only had damage reduction on the first initiation of the enemy phase. So in this case, it's that she gets bonus damage reduction for the first hit, but then she still gets damage reduction, just a lesser amount for every following hit. So 60% for the first hit, 30% for all successive hits as well. That's really solid. Even 30% is quite good. It's quite good to have. Having a built-in debuff on the enemy is also very good as well. Now, another interesting evolution of Guard Bearing is that Guard Bearing 3 was enemy phase only. Guard Bearing 4, she gets damage reduction on both phases, which, originally when I was looking at this, I was like, Guard Bearing is an enemy phase skill. Most of the rest of her kit is offensively based, so that leans her more towards being a mixed phase unit. But no, she's going to get damage reduction player phasing as well as enemy phasing from Guard Bearing 4. That's going to be a very pivotal skill for her when she's engaging on the enemy. And that's quite an upgrade to what Guard Bearing did. It effectively takes what Guard Bearing did and then not only expands its scope, but also just enhances it overall and creates no limitations for it. It's actually pretty great. At Knightly Devotion, the fact that she has that as her own unique skill, it's very, very good. So that's going to differentiate her and set her apart a little bit, but that alone kind of sets her apart and gives her some key strengths here. She's going to be a powerful one, and she's going to do all of the damage off of her offensive capability, enjoy damage reduction, be able to double, proc that Luna, and then deal fixed damage as well as part of that that scales off of her speed stat, which is going to be considerable. So yeah, Ingrid's come to play for sure. All right, so once again, starting on the 17th, new heroes and Rearmed Ingrid. This banner is really good. Sylvain excluded. Not to hate on Sylvain. I like Sylvain a lot. But Sylvain kind of got the short end of the stick here. His kit is not really that much to write home about, and he's going to be a 4-star hero. So you got to kind of expect that. And in the regular pool at that. The rest of the units on this banner have really good stuff, and a lot of them introduce new skills that are really coveted. Felix overall, all that damage reduction scaling off of his speed. He's got the bulwark skill, godlike reflexes. All that stuff in his kit is really, really strong, and if not for him, for other units as well. Rhea has so much damage reduction built into her. She has what I'm going to guess is a dragon exclusive A slot that is very, very powerful. I think a lot of people are going to want to get their hands on that. And then Ingrid, I mean, being a rearmed hero, her lance is very good. And then she's got the guard bearing, which I think is going to get a lot of use. I think it is very potent as a skill. Her A slot is amazing, and it's her own exclusive A slot. It's definitely one that I am tempted to summon for, just because you can spark on it. You can guarantee yourselves one of these units. And Rearmed Heroes, Ingrid is not in the regular pool. I mean, despite this being a new hero banner, Rearmed Heroes do not go into the regular summoning pool. So that being the case, this is the best shot to get a copy of Ingrid. Now, we've got a lot around the corner. Next month, like I had kind of prefaced this whole video, probably next month we're going to get Fallen Heroes. And generally speaking, Fallen Heroes tend to be absurd game changers. They often bring a lot to the table. They often shake the foundation in a lot of ways, bringing new things to the game. And they don't always, but they often do, and I would expect that this go around as well. This banner is going to be around for a healthy period of time. We're going to get summon tickets. You know, maybe wait it out. See what else is coming around the corner. You're probably going to see what the next banner is before this banner leaves, as far as new heroes, and new heroes would be the Fallen Heroes potentially. So yeah, I mean, again, I can't blame anybody for summoning on this. It's actually very tempting. I'm tempted to myself to summon for Ingrid here. So ultimately, would I say that this banner is worth? Yeah, it probably is worth your orbs, but I think the smart thing to do is to wait. Because this banner is going to be around. You can decide to hop in on the final days if you need to. And but as far as value is concerned, I do think this banner delivers. As far as character selection goes, I think it's full of fan favorites too, so it hits on all fronts. And the art's pretty good. The art is very solid overall. I think they're all very fair and pragmatic representations of the characters. So let me know in the comments below if you're excited for new heroes and Rearmed Ingrid. Let me know if you guessed this banner. I don't know if there were any leaks or anything, but I certainly didn't see this coming. Let me know if you saw it coming. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.